It's time for Transportline, the program that showcases the contributions for all modes of transportation to the socio-economic growth and development of our country, Africa, and the rest of the world. Transportline is being beamed to you from the Center of Excellence, the state of aquatic splendor, and Africa's second largest economy, Lagos. I am Shina Elegbede. Glad to know that you are keeping us company. The maritime sector has been the front burner since 2023, when President Bola Ahmed Tinubu established the Marine and Blue Economy Ministry. Since that period, concise and concerted efforts have been made to really reposition the Nigerian economy through the continuous annexing of our blue economy. Of course, the major ports in Nigeria are central to this, be it Western or Eastern ports. So today we are going to focus on contemporary issues in the Nigerian maritime sector, the ports especially. To discuss with me on this particular topic is the President of African Association of Professionals, Freight Forwarders, and Logistics of Nigeria, Otumba Frank Ugujemite, and we shall be discussing together to see how we can really continuously exploit the potentials of the maritime sector to more or less revive the Nigerian economy. Otumba Frank Ugujemite, you welcome to the program.
Good afternoon. Thanks for having me. It's my pleasure to be here today.
Yes, many issues in the maritime sector, many issues in the maritime sector, contemporary for that matter.
Yes.
Precisely, we know the CVFF fund, despite the promise that it should be disbursed in August, has not been done. We are in October, August, September, October. Unfortunately, Transportline tried to find out from NIMASA what is happening, but we hit a brick wall. But the whole world is watching. But precisely, Otumba, the port sector. Let's first of all look at the Western ports before we move to the Eastern ports. The Western ports, major ports, Apapa, Tinkan. What's the situation there now as regards preparation for this national single window?
Thank you for having me again. Yes, like maritime, like I said the other time was there, it is a catalyst of any country's economy that you cannot put aside. That means you have to handle this carefully if you want to maximize the potentials, both in everything, either financial and what it takes. Now, when we're talking about single window, it's not new. The single window is there already. The problems are the macro factors affecting the implementations, which I think the present Minister of Blue and Marine Economy has embarked to take care of now. If you remember, in February, we had a National Single Window Summit in Marriott Hotel. And that's where the minister said that he wants to make sure that the cost of operation is reduced by 25%. And not quite long after that, we realized that because FOB has been implemented, has been enacted, it has to be implemented. And that's additional cost. So when you look at that and what the minister is saying in February, is contradicted. And that's why we are seeing so many issues that you need to have a proper engagement of stakeholders, have the conscience, the love of citizens before you implementing most of your policies. However, in that summit, it was emphasized that the national single window will be in operations. What is national single window? It's a portal that contains all the government agencies in the port operations. And what are the impediments that are not affecting this in operation? Is lack of love, the rivalry among the agencies. Who is going to lead the porter? So if you look at national security, it's just a annex of federal inland revenues headed by Sakios Adedeji. Because, and this is frustrating, if the government is looking about revenue generation without trace facilitations, it's discouraging. So of course, we kept our finger crossed. We listen to them. They just finished a few days ago the what they call the summit on it in Port Harcourt, where the Lagos one has been done about a week ago or 2 weeks ago rather. So if you want to, of course, it's very important for any government to generate revenue, but there are some things you need to put in operations. So when you look at the situation of the port, generally it is supposed to be your concern than the revenue. So when everything is okay, the revenue will automatically come in rather than putting burdens on the people. Now the minister gave a directive that, okay, suspend the FOB. It took ages before there can be an effect. It's not that it's been suspended by the customer. They went to Manufacturing Association of Nigeria to accept some from the FOB, why the government suspend without any clause. But if it's an increment, in Tikkun of Highs, we got an increment. Does that mean these people on the leadership want to suffer the citizens of this country? Because if the money is for the people, you will be able to know how we holistically see how things will work out without affecting each other. This is a country that the banking, they are more or less irrelevant to the people. Because you cannot run to bank, I need an overdraft, I need a credit card, or I need money. Except it has to man knows man. So the issues in the marital sector, to be honest, is enormous that we have to be looking at it critically together.
Yeah, thank you, Otumba. The issue of revenue generation and trade facilitation has been a contending one in the sense that many stakeholders believe that trade facilitation should be in the front burner instead of revenue generation. And the argument is that, look, if there is proper implementation of trade facilitation, definitely the revenue will not only improve, it will increase drastically, and at the same time, the purse of either Apapa, Tinkan, or One, our purse will become the best in this region. What is your view on this?
Yes, like I said, you see, without trade facilitations, we cannot have FDI, that's foreign direct investment. And it's very important to any country, because that's where you have the foreign investors coming investing in your country. And that indirectly can boost our GDP. You understand? But when a lot of macro factors, if you read about the economic outlook, they thought the inflation will reduce in Nigeria according to the speculation. But you can read the statistics of Bureau and statistics Bureau. You know, it's not encouraging in a practical sense, because the government, of course, the dollar is stable, but the way how it has been gone up, the damages to the business is too much. A lot of business has closed up, and when there is no trade facilitation, there is no foreign direct investment, and the banking is not smiling in this country. Let's be sincere with ourselves. So the citizens are on the mercy of themselves, because right now, sometimes we'll be doing the port operations, we want to do duties, the bank will not work for 2, 3, 1 weeks. To the extent we wrote to the Minister of Finance on these issues. But at the end of the day, the Nigerian banking declare surpluses every year, declare profit. And the damages they've done to the businesses, nothing is being done. That's why we look at it that there must be compensatory law in this country. That whatever you do, you pay for it. So those who has paid exorbitant prices, cost for the clearance are left on themselves. At the end of the day, the burden, the charges, the cost pass to the end users. And look at the rate of the turnover will drastically low as well. And the only places where I think people run to get money now is microfinance. And if you look at the charges, the interest rate, it's killing. It's not palatable. So to me, if you're talking about trade facilitation, the government, you have to look at do stakeholder engagement. For instance, it was proposed that CVVV will be disbursed. And I said that look, try to do a credit checks. If there has been proper consultation, by now the payment could have been effect. But they just make policy without proper consultations. They propose to do something without being consulting properly. So the people will not take government, they will not believe in the government. And if the people in this country cannot believe in the government, how do you attract the foreigners? How do you attract investment? How do you promote trade facilitations? So those are the issues affecting proper consultation. If you have done that before your policy, the implementation will be easier. And there is no country can survive without trade facilitation or foreign direct investment. And now, the government has to think about indigenous production as well. Because by the time you don't think about indigenous production, how do you think about factors that can affect our exports? And that's the reason we are crying out that there are some impediments some people is trying to impose on the export process in this country. More taxations, because the government needs money. Of course, when the government needs money, you have to think about the citizen. The citizen government has a responsibility to take care of the citizen. But the situation is that, are they taking care of the citizen? Are they taking care of their businesses? Of course, the government might like to do, but they have to consult and they have to do these things sincerely. So the trade facilitation is ongoing thing. It's not things that you talk. Let people see what you are doing. Engage people. When we are talking about Africa Free Trade Agreement area, the people call on the businesses that are not being consulted. You just see in the newspaper, every so people are talking about this. Who are they? What are they technocrats in this area? But because the people, technocrats, they don't know the people in charge, they are not being invited because they don't engage people that do the businesses, which is very wrong. So all those things, the government has to look at it. Now, I was telling people what are the factors that affect Africa Free Trade Africa
agreement.
No.
African Continental Free Trade Agreement.
No. You know, before that we have ECOWAS.
Yes.
Now, ask yourself, is ECOWAS successful? Now, if you remember in 1994, Obasanjo said Africa Unities. They have Africa Unities Agreement before Africa Trade Agreements. When that the same thing that Africa Unity was talking about then was single free movement and free movement of goods. What Africa Free Trade Agreement say is the same thing. But charity begin at home. Access ECOWAS, because now I cannot go to Benin now. They're going to stop me at the border. Where's my passport? They take money from you. No free movement. So if Africa, what are the impediments that affect the success of ECOWAS implementations? Okay. Now, those are the things you now determine to, with Africa Free Trade Agreement will be successful? Are the businesses within each country, are they going fine? So there are a lot of impediments in trade facilitation that we need to address as African continents. So if all those things is not being approached, we cannot get any success in most of these things. It's going to be news upon news, news upon news, deceit.
Okay, Otumba, we will discuss the issue of Africa Continental Free Trade Agreement in another program. But the issue now is, from your experience, as the banking industry, many clog in the wheel in the quest to have genuine trade facilitation. Not only that, and what should be done so that this banking sector will fine-tune their activities so that we will have good trade facilitation in Nigerian ports.
See, you know, the banking, the Nigeria Custom, the inland, they are under the Ministry of Finance. And at this point, this century behind Nigeria, the government should be able to weigh into the plight of the people. When the banking services are not working 3 or 4 days, and the shipping and terminal operator collecting demurrage from you, that the issue that not being responsible from you, you can see that's so disheartening. And at the end of the day, those banks will declare profit. Now in 21st century in Nigeria, we have BVN, we have name. They still giving you go and get a reference before you can open an account. The Western world does not do this.
So, sorry, what made them not to operate, for instance, for about 3 or 4 days?
Server problems. They have an issue, there are technical issue within them. And when they
How
have a
frequently do
technical
you have
issue,
problem with servers?
they
at
do
the first?
frequently. That
And nothing has been done to really
in fact,
rectify
on
it.
First Bank, I wrote on First Bank that they have to call me. And when this issue happened, they don't even give apology. And the apology does not even bring compensations. That's why I'm saying there must compensatory law. When this issue happens, it's either they pay the people that are affected or the government gets some fine from them. At the end of the day, the government look out to cushion. And at the end of the day, I don't know how the concession agreement or report is being made without considering all those things, factors that can affect the operations. Because when issues happen, it's not your fault and you're being penalized for it. That's so sad. At the end of the day, the importers go through a lot of tough times. And everybody is doing business to maximize profits or to gain. But at the end of the day, you are running at loss. Especially if your food and if your consignment is not food. So it's people might decide not to buy. And you probably must have got a loan from the microfinance. What is going to happen to you? That's why the business closes every day. Go to the corporate affairs, a lot of business that are inactive. So when the government is talking about revenue, they should consider the people and businesses. How will these people survive? What is per capita income of the people? How much are they earning? What's dangers that inflation has done to their earnings?
Okay.
So how do people survived?
Okay, Otumba, of recent you raised alarm that something should be done as regards the call-off system, the eastern ports of Nigeria. What has been your experience? Because Transportline will recall that even Anosi called Comtua frowned at the way the call-up system was operated or implemented at the western ports. Now, according to you, this is affecting export. And you know, apart non-oil export rather. So apart from oil, as of today, we are happy that from statistics released, the non-oil export is on the geometrical side. So that really should assist the economy. But what is your bone of contention in the eastern ports as regards this call-off system?
You see, a lot of things supposed to be blessing, but the way people personalize a lot of things in this country for selfish reasons, we realize the importance of call-up system in Lagos State because of the populations and the domain of the ports. You understand? But comparing that to One is a village that far away from Port Harcourt City themselves, and the government has a back on doing the road, and West Africa Container Terminal WATS, they have established an arrangement of regulating trucks in and out of the port. Now, somebody, because of greed, they now take the system in Lagos. Because at a point we were paying about 200 naira for call-up system in Lagos before we cry out. Things obviously supposed to be free if we want to talk about ease the upgrade business. You understand? Because it's a systems. Now you took it to port, and at the end of the day, what I've learned from Lagos, that let's do this to regulate trucks in and out. You contracted it to some people that they should go and be collecting money in that way. This is very unfair, because if you want to decongest Lagos port, those are incentive that people should have the reasons to relocate their business to Eastern port. And you said they were taking about 18,000 naira in and out. Then you now divide another place, the land that belongs to MPA belongs to government, consult to some people. They should be making money on people for no reasons.
Is that what is happening at the Eastern Post now?
Yes. And they now say that on an export, you'll be paid 35,000 naira. On what? Are you facilitating trade, or what are you trying to do? That's why we have appealed to the MD, Abubakar, that please suspend these processes. If you are not aware, we've written to him to be aware. And we cry out that this is not an injustice, this is the pains of the people. That Onepo does not deserve this. Nigeria does not deserve it. You rather encourage people to do export so we can earn. And you look at it, what people virtually export, apart from man, is food. Because Jack Pasidron has let a lot of Nigeria travel abroad. So let's take the opportunity to add Christ to this country. Don't be an opportunity to exploit people. We have never got a response from the MPS, I'm speaking to you, but House of Reps has responded to us. They have gotten in touch with us. Chairman Potts and Abbas has called us on these issues. Because we can't continue to fold our hands and put infinite problems on the citizens of this country. So, and what is paining me that the present MD grew up in NPA. He's not a potent director from somewhere else. But I tell you something, before this day, we are proposed to meet these people to discuss issues in the port. You will never get a response from them. You will never get it. And I don't know what happened to our leaders. It's like when they cross the bridge, they remove the ladders. They don't want to know what other people is going through, which is totally unfair in a democratic country. How many the president want to do when you cannot do yours? We all have responsibilities to perform. And if you demand to see most of these people, to let them know what is going on practically, is becoming an issue. If you do against stakeholder, how do you know what happened in that sectors? So this is an opportunity to appeal to them. Do a lot of engagements, do a lot of research, have the love of this country, feel the pains of the citizens of this country, allow the business to grow, less people breed.
Okay, Otumba Frank Ogunjemite, President, Association of African Professional Freight Forwarders and Logistics of Nigeria. We thank you for coming on board on Transportline to really tell us what is really happening at the western and eastern ports of Nigeria, especially as regards revenue and trade facilitation. We hope the technical regulator of the Nigerian Ports, that's the Nigerian Ports Authority, the leadership will take cognizance of the observation of your association, like the House of Reps committee has done, so that at the end of the day, we resolve this issue, because the consumer in Nigeria will bear the brunt. At the end of the day, it will affect the cost of either import or export. We will continue to make sure that we get there. We thank you for coming to the program.
Thank you so much for having us.
Yes.
We'll keep right to the people. The pains of the people is the pain of everyone. Thank you so much for having us.
Yeah. That is all we are going to take for this episode on Transportline. As we really prepare for the single window at the Nigerian ports, it's taking off January 2026. It's less than 3 months from now. And we hope all the agencies and stakeholders involved we interact together so that we have a better outing on this particular system from next year. But again, we are getting there gradually, but things are not as we expected. So everybody should be his or her brother's keeper. Compassion is the keyword. Be compassionate. Till next time, bye-bye for now.
Take it again.
Huh?
Take the closing again.
Well, Otumba Frank Ogunjemite, we thank you for finding time for coming on the program.
Thank you, sir.
We hope the leadership of the Nigerian Ports Authority, which is the technical regulator of the Nigerian ports, will do the needful to make sure that at the end of the day, we resolve all these cheating problems you've highlighted. At the same time, the national single window is taken up January next year, 2026. It's less than 3 months from now. What should be done actually there should be meeting synergy among the various agencies, government, and professional bodies like your own association, so that at the end of the day, we move Nigeria forward economically. Otumba, we thank you for finding time to come on the program.
Thank you so much for having me.
So, we round up today, but before we go, everything is taking shape, but we are not yet there. So, continue to be your brother's keeper. Put this country first, not myself, not yourself. If the country is better, there is no way everybody will not be better. So, let's just use this idea of everybody to himself, God for us. No, we should have Nigeria first at the back of our mind. Compassion is the key word. Be compassionate to your fellow human beings. Till next time, bye bye for now.